Hello again, lovelies, and welcome back to Mama G Gear. It's Mama G here, and I'm going to show you how to do a back post, front post alternate, changing your yarns as you go, wrapping them around the back so you don't have to tuck them in every row tutorial. But it's not just a tutorial, it's an unconventional tutorial where I just kind of show you kind of what I do, and then you just use that information and do your own thing. All right, I'm going to lift you up a little bit just so you could see that the yarns I'm using are the Hirschner's Worsted Neon Lights, and that's because I did just finish the sweater. I also just did a review on the new dot crochet hooks that I bought, and if you haven't, if that is dropped and you haven't seen that, please check that out. You may want to stay, watch it, and stay to the end. Just saying, wink, wink. All right, so the hat I want to show you, this is the ones I've been making, where I alternate the yarns, and it's alternating back post, front post. But I will say one thing, and I'm going to, hopefully this will work. If you look here on this one, I do a front post, but then I go into the top stitch instead of doing a back post on this one. All right. I hope that you could see that. And then on the other two hats, I literally alternate front post and then go through the back post. See, so you don't even hardly see that stitch because it's wrapped around the back post. So that's the difference between these two. This one I go front post and then to the top of the stitch. So that's the only difference in them. I'll hold them side by side. I know they're different colors, but there's a little bit of a difference in the pattern of the ridges, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so that's just to show you the difference. And I always, if you are new, welcome if you are new. Don't forget your thummies, by the way, and subscribe if you haven't. That'd be make me very happy. I do my hats from bottom up because I have a hard time. I don't read patterns, and if I start from the top down, they're never the right size around my head. So to ensure that they are the right size around my head, or the head that I'm making it for, I do the rim first, or brim, trim, whatever. And here's another one. This is just giving you kind of an idea of the different colors that you could use. And this one here is also full front post and back post. See how it goes behind that stitch? Where that first one, again, I went into that stitch instead of going behind it. That's the only difference. But it does give it a different, different look. And you decide, just giving you options. I got this little finger thing here, and it's, again, got to feed the OCD. It's bothering me, and I feel like I should pause this and cut that off. All right, whatever. I'll just deal with it. All right, so I'm going to be using the Hirschner's Worsted Neon Lights yarn. It's a 4-weight yarn. There's like 400 and how many yards in these? This is really, I love this yarn, man. 489 yards, or 448 meters. Okay, and I've decided, as I set this up, that I'm going to do my brim, trim, rim, whatever you want to call it, with the multicolored. And then we'll alternate the colors on the hat going up. The hook I want to use, I'm not using the dot hook because I wanted to show you this one. I cannot read that. I'll hold it up. Hopefully it will focus for you. I think it says Bryce spun. It's made out of forest. I'm not sure what that says. Might say redwood. My eyes are pretty bad. And then it's a J hook, which is a 6.0, and that's how much I paid. And it's made in Vietnam. Yeah, it's really lightweight. What's cool about this one, I got this at my local yarn store. It's got a pointy tip, which if you're not careful, you can be poking at yourself. But it also works really well when you're trying to get in between stitches. So let's try this hook. All right, I also have a darning needle. And like I say, I always leave the yarn that I had in last in the hook, the needle, so I could find it more easily. We have a stitch marker and I know they're cranes. I prefer to call them hummingbird scissors. I'm going to put these aside. I also have the black and white yarn because I have an idea, as usual. And again, it's unconventional. All right, so how I make my slip knot, do it your way. I do a crossover, make a pretzel, put my hook through, and if I can grab it, yeah, right. Let's mess up the first stitch I'm trying to do. Anyway, all right, so on the trim, I'm gonna do 6. What do I do here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more 6. I'm gonna do 6 stitches. That's 5 plus 1 for the turn. And as you may know, I like to go back into the hump in the back. I don't go through the V, I go into the hump. It's just a thing. And it does work, and I mentioned this before. What's nice if you're doing a scarf or something where you're leaving that edge as a finished edge, when you go through the hump, you're leaving yourself the V, so it's got a nice finished edge. All right, then we're going to chain 1, and then on here, when I'm doing the trim, rim, I go into both the first stitch and the last stitch on each row. I go through both stitches of the V. Okay, now to create that rim, this effect, where you have like little lines, has more definition, I'm going to go just in the closest to me V, part of the V. Closest to me, part of the V. I think things, if they rhyme or you put a little song to it, it's easier to remember. And I can still remember my 4th grade French dialogue because we sang it, me and my neighbor kid friend. Now the last one goes through both. That's going to give it a little more structure and sturdier on either end. Just a note to self. And you could be self right now. Before I turn it, I did my 1. Before I turn it, I'm going to put a stitch marker on this side because this is the side of the V we're going to go into continuing on. So now we're going to turn it. Stitch markers on the back. So the first stitch goes through both. And you're probably, if you've watched other unconventional tutorials, you've heard this numerous times, but it's not bad to repeat just in case you hadn't. The stitch markers on the back. So that's the side of the V that we're going to go into. And this is why this hook is nice, because it's got a nice sharp point. So it really goes right into there without me having to fiddle with it. End 1, we go through both, chain 1, turn it back, go through both for my first stitch. Again, stitch markers here. So I'm going to go on this side of the V. And I'm not going to bore you with doing this whole thing and making you watch that. Just going to do it a couple more times for those of you that don't know. And if you do know, just fast forward. And then the end one, again, through both. It really does give a lot of strength to both sides. Turn it, and now, oh, there's no stitch markers, so I must have to go through the back of the V. All right. All right, so I'm going to continue doing this. I don't measure with a measuring tape, and I also don't like to count stitches, as you might well know. What I do with this is I continue until I try it around my head and see if it fits. If it fits on my head, then I know it's good for a small-brained person or a child. Did I just screw that up? Yeah, I did. See what happens when you start insulting yourself? Or maybe I didn't. What did I do here? Oh, that must be the stitch. Wait, hold on a second, guys. All right, that's the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes through both. All right, yep, see what happens? The last one, I don't know, I think I messed that up. I really do. I did mess it up. Oh, let's watch what I did wrong. I'm going to back off. All right. So if this happens to you, now you know what you could do. All right, so that's a finish of a row. Going to give my chain 1 and turn. go through both. I don't have a stitch marker, it's on the back, so the back of the V. So that was stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, and since we have 5, this goes into both. Okay, then I chain 1. I think I forgot the chain. I think I forgot it. What? Where did I learn English? I think I forgot the chain 1 at the end. That's why I messed up. And then first goes both. Then we're doing the closest to me V, because that's where the stitch marker is. And you can move the stitch marker up as you go. This will twist as you're continuing on, so you can move that stitch marker up if you do so please. All right, and finishing what I was trying to say to you was I try it on my head. If it's for an adult other than myself, I will make sure it's fits a little big on my head, and then I know it'll fit a normal size brain person. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, and there's the stitch marker, so it's this side. I'm going to do this, and if you're crocheting along with me, just pause it, and we'll get back to when I get to where I'm going to, where this, try it around your head and make sure it's the right size, and then come back. All right, so we're going to pause you, and I'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so this width that I did works perfect for my head. It's actually a little bit big for my head, so maybe somebody else might like it. And I'm taking my stitch marker out. This is a little hard to see because it's a very busy yarn, but this is the back side. This is the good side, the front side. And you could see, like, lines, but being that it's a busy yarn, I don't expect you to be able to see that. All right, I decided I'm going to do something, because like I said, these are unconventional, so most of the time I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm going to, instead of doing a single crochet around the edge right now with this yarn, I'd like to incorporate black and white with very colorful yarns. So I've decided that I'm going to join this together and then add a single crochet around, and then a white on the other side. So it's going to be a little more tucking in, but not a problem. So I finished that off. I'm going to do my chain 1, and you want to find the front side, or the side opposite the stitch marker. Well, yeah, brain cramp there, right? And put them together. Now I do have a chain 1 here, and I'm putting the good side, the outs, what's going to be seen on the inside, and then I'm going to go into the very first stitch. And I don't want too much slack here, because that's what's joining it together. And then I'm going into the very first stitch of the other one, and you can see there's a tail. So let's just tuck that tail up while we do this. So now we're going to pull it through all of them. So I went through both V's of the very first stitch, tuck the tail in, and then we're going to do a single crochet. There's other ways to join this. If you have another way, go ahead and do it. I'm just showing you how I do it. And again, we're going to go to the next underneath both V's. Underneath both V's, you could, if you want to continue the look of the rim, you can do just the back ones or just the front ones, whatever. That's a possibility. Also, remember, I've got my tail tucked. I like saying that. And then I'm going to the next one. Nope, maybe not. Yes, I am. Did I do it? No, I didn't. Unconventional tutorial. All right, so it's the next. Oh my goodness. Well, and I always say tutorials are a little tougher to do because you're not sitting and crocheting the way you normally do when you're just hanging out. So that would be one of the reasons why I'm messing this up a little bit. All right, so now, since I'm not going to do the trim with this, if you were, just do a single, a single crochet here, and then you can go around the whole thing. But I'm gonna tie this off. I'm gonna make a mess. I'm going to grab my hummingbird. My hummingbird scissors. And now I'm putting it right side out. And not for any other reason other than I want to. I'm just going to do a little bit of a, not pulling it because that one thread is just pulled through. I'm just doing a little bit of a knot there, just for reinforcements. So let's take black. And again, I just do an X, make a pretzel, grab that inside of the pretzel and pull. And go into, this could be the top or the bottom. I'm just going to go into one of the holes. And I'm crocheting on the right side. The side we're seeing is a side we're going to want on the proper side of the hat. So just know that when you're pulling it through, now the knot and the tail are in the back. Okay? And we're going to single crochet, and I'm going to tuck my tails as I go. It's just so much easier to do that. And I'm tucking and going from the stitch to stitch. I don't do this really tight because this trim has a give to it. So you don't want to make your crochet stitches here, single crochet stitches, too terribly tight. I'm going to give them a little slack. All right, and then we're just going to go around real quick. I'll just do this while I'm chatting with you because, again, this hook is really nice. It's so lightweight. I think it says Bryce spun. Oh. Talking and chewing gum and walking at the same time. Yeah. All right, so we're doing black on this side, and then I'm going to do the white on the other side. And the black I'm using is just the Red Heart Super Saver. I just like to use up as much of my stash as I have a whole pile of, I used a little bit out of this one, a little bit out of that one. So when I get the opportunity, I like to try to use that up, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do, instead of, going into a new skein. Come on. And the only black and white at this point, well, actually, now that I'm saying it, I'm thinking the black and white that I'm using here is all that I was going to use in the hat, because the 4 colors that you see there, that's going to be the main part of the hat. And then as I was saying it, I'm thinking, what would be a really nice idea is nearing the end, and remind me if I forget, is to make a pom-pom out of the multicolor and the black and white. I had to itch my eye, sorry. The multicolor out of the black and white, and do that as a pom-pom. That would look really cool. Now I'm just doing a slip stitch in the first stitch, giving it a tug, pulling it through again for a knot, and snip it with my hummingbird scissors. Now we're going to do the other side. We're going to grab the white. Again, this is a Caron pound cake or whatever you call it. Not pound cake, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, find a entrance, doesn't make a difference. Pull it through. I'm going to tie my tail as I go. And again, just go around. Tuck and stitch. Tuck and stitch. I don't know why that amused my brain for a second. And let me pull some yarn out of the... It's off. The skein is on stage left. Remember that? What was the name of that cat? Oh my gosh. Come on, you old people. Remember the cartoon we used to watch? He was a yellow tabby cat. And he would be on stage and he'd say, exit stage left. Oh my gosh. All right. Somebody has to remember that. Anybody who's watching that, please drop that in the comment for me, because That's going to drive me cuckoo. The heck? I can't even think of the name of the cartoon. But some of the cartoons we used to watch, wow. Back in the 60s and 70s, well, 60s mostly, but it's amazing that we all grew up fairly okay. Because some of them are pretty brutal. I don't know, what was your favorite cartoon? I'm curious, yeah, when you, growing up, regardless of your age, I'm curious what's your favorite or some of your favorite cartoons that you watched as a child, or if you still watch them as a grown-up. No diss there. I am not throwing you any shade because I watch cartoons too still. It kind of brings you back to when life was less stressful and you didn't have to worry about putting dinner on the table physically and financially. It just was there like a miracle. I'm sorry if you're bouncing a little bit because I'm actually sitting on my bed watching TV and have this thing on my lap. So in the process of doing what I'm doing, you might bounce a little because the tripod is attached to the back of the headboard. I have a sleigh bed. Sleigh bells ring. I'm not singing. All right, now the slip knot to finish this one off. Give it a tug, pull it through, make it a knot. And later on we could feed that through. So we're done with the white and black unless we do a pom-pom, which I think I might. I think I'm liking the pom-pom idea. All right, so now, so we're going to put this aside as well. So this is what I had mentioned to you guys about the stitch. And let me take a hot second and show you. It's kind of hard to see because it is busy, but this is the join. This is all the yarn that I just carry up as I go along with the hat. All right. And it's kind of twisted, and this can get a little bit complicated. So I would recommend, unless you're doing a different yarn every time, which would be crazy tying in those ends, I'm just going to use 4 different colors. So I only have to carry 4 yarns. And I didn't fix that skin. All right, so let's start with the yellow. Again, pretzel and pull. And I think for the first one, we're just going to do a single crochet all the way around. Okay. So we're just going into the single crochet that we just created with the white. I should have, you know what? Before I go too far, I think I want to put it in with the black. It'll be more of a contrast. All right, where's the stitch? There we go. So let's try this instead. So we're going to start with a 1 and then just work our way around, holding the tail. Oh yeah, I like that better because the white and next to the yellow just didn't quite do it for me. And I'm also trying to pull the yarn out of here. All right, so I'm going to put you on hold instead of you having to listen to me babble while I do this. Just go all the way around. And those little ones at the end, they're already tucked in, so when we're done, we could literally just cut those off. Hope I'm not, I realize that maybe I'm too close to myself, not close enough, or I'm going too close to myself. So I'm going to put you on pause, then try to adjust this so I don't do that to you. All right, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay, so the very last stitch, I'm going to go into this V. Doesn't seem right though. And give it a snug. Now we're not cutting anything because we're going to carry this up. And just for expedition, I'm going to go on top. I'm laying the yellow down the bottom, and I already put the slip knot. So we're going to go Oh, that's what I did wrong. I knew I did something wrong. All right, we're at the back. Let's back up again. All right, so now we've got our last stitch. We're going in to do the slip knot, adding our new color, and then pulling it through both, and then giving the yellow a tug. And I'm kind of holding the yellow there a little bit. All right, so now 1, 2. Now if I can remember what we did here. All right, so this is going to be where we're going to go up the back of the, that's bothering me. Now we're going to start doing front post, back post. So we did 1. Now we're going to go, see this, the V? Well, next to it is a stitch opening here and a stitch opening there. I hope you're able to see that. So we're going to yarn over, because we crocheted 2 or 3, whichever you want to do. Going to go in and back through here. The reason you see this yellow right there, that's because that's the tag that we carried. And you're going to go back and around, and then go through 2, go through that. Now we're going to do it again, but we're going to go in where we were, around to the back, and go to the next, and then alternate back to where we were, out that front. So we're doing the front post, back post. So this is front post, back post. It looks a little wonky right now, but it'll look better when you're further along. All right, so let me just show you one more time, because I'm not going to sit here with the whole hat, because we'll be here for a couple hours, but I want to show you what to do. So there's your back post, front post, and it looks kind of weird, but as you continue on, it'll make more sense. So yarn over, because we're doing double crochets. The last one we did was a back post, so now we're going to go in and go around that stitch, pull this through, and finish off your stitch. Now I'm going to go back into the where you just came out of, go back. That's why this particular hook I really like for these stitches, because it's got that sharp point. And back in that direction. Whoop. Just undo and back up. There we go. So this is pretty much what we're doing all the way around the hat. All right, hope that makes sense. And then next we're going to do the following color. I have a funny feeling that I did half double crochets and not, I'm doing like double crochet here, but I have a really funny feeling that my hats were half double crochets. I'm not sure. Well, you could do whichever stitch, so it doesn't make a difference, but now that I'm looking at it, again, I don't write things down, I just do them. But I just don't remember the big open space. When we get to the next color, I'll be able to tell better. So you could do this as in a half doubles if you want, or singles, whatever stitch you choose. All right, I'm going to put you on pause, work my way around, and get to the next color. Alrighty, so I went all the way around, and here's where we started. Now this one that we started with, this way you don't have to worry about even and odd, okay? So you don't have to count your stitches. This could be either a back or a front post, because this is going to be the back of the hat. But since I ended with a front post, I'm going to treat this one like a back post. Anyway, you're going to go up to the chain 3, because I'm pretty sure that's what I did, and slip stitch. No, we're going to add the next color. My bad. And I already did the little loopy. I am a little loopy, that's for darn sure. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing with you, otherwise we'll be here all darn day. But I do want to show you how I do the do the process of carrying the yarn behind me. All right, so it came, what the heck did I just do? Oh, I pulled it all the way through. All right, hold on. That's where, yeah. I put the knot right through there, which was not what I wanted to do, but it happens when you're babbling on. All right, so I try to expedite and instead made it longer. But those of you who've watched before, you understand. All right, going into the both sides of that, grabbing my new yarn, pull it through, make a chain, and then I'm pulling the continuing thread, which is this right here, just to give it a snug. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3, and can you see the front post and back post? So we're gonna, this one's gonna be just the odd man out. We're gonna go back to the front post and go around, and then we're gonna go to the back post. It's a little easier to do it when you're doing it with either a double crochet or a half double crochet, as opposed to going through that first single crochet. So now I'm going into the back. I'm going the entire back post, and then I'm going to the entire front post. And just to show you real quick, I'm going to pull this out, and then I'm going to do more and then show you as we go higher. But if I was going, the other one I showed you that was the odd one that I didn't go back post, there's front post, and here's the next stitch. If you wanted that look, don't go through the back. Go through the top of that stitch and then go to the front post. I'm going to pull these out so that it doesn't make the hat look weird. But there again, there's the next stitch on top of that there, and then you go to the front post. So it does give a little bit of a different, see where this is back and forth, you see a lot more of the orange on top, where if you go on the top, you see more of that row color. So that's a personal choice. This is going to have a ridge, but not as pronounced, that little bit different look. All right. So that's up to you on how you want to do that. Or do them both. Do one hat one way, one hat the other way. All right, so basically that's it. And I'm going to get the next color on, and then I'm going to show you how I travel it up. All right. So I'm going to put you on pause again as you continue to go on your merry way with doing what we're doing here. And I will be right back. Alrighty, so I went ahead and I did the green and the blue. I haven't connected it because now I need to bring back the yellow. But see all the tails on the end here? These are all connected to the hanks or the skeins. In the process of traveling up, unfortunately there's some tails in here, so try not to get confused with that. In the process of this, I did put the yellow on the bottom, but see how it gets, they're kind of twisted around? This is the fun part. That's why it's nice to do this while you're laying down, or having them laying down. I'm going to take these out so that they're lying separately. I don't know how that green one got like that, but it did. Here's my yellow. Here's my orange. The heck did I do? All right, so you want these to not be, I don't know how I got them all so twisted, but anyway, the concept that you're doing is now that I want to bring the yellow up, I want all these colors. I think I'm making more of a mess than I am anything else. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. It's like a puzzle, folks. It's like a maze. Instead of fixing it, I made it worse. All right. When you're bringing up your trail, you want to wrap. Here's my yarns that I'm not using this round. I'm using this yellow. So I finished this row. I've got my yellow. I'm going into the, chain 3 on the top of the chain 3. And I want to make sure that I'm wrapped around all the other colors. And the blue I'm going to give a tug to because I want that to tighten on this side. And I'm just making sure that that's all wrapped around there. And then when we go to the orange, we're going to make sure that the orange is going to be wrapped around. So it kind of, and you have to kind of manipulate your yarns as you're doing this. But in the long run, it's a little bit more work in the beginning, but in the long run, it does that nice wrap. So now I'm not carrying any of those behind. I'm going right back to what I'm doing. I'm going to do the whole yellow and then go back and front like I've been doing. And then when I get to the orange, like I could do this and pull this over. So the orange will be next. And then I'm going to make sure all of those yarns are wrapped against the hat that I'm working on, and the orange yarn will be behind them, and so on and so forth to the next color. So that's basically what I do as I go, and I'll show you on this different hat maybe. See how I just carry it up, and I just pull the next color and the next color. Here's the other hat that I showed you before. This one's a little bit neater, but see how it just, how it just kind of rolls up from each row, each introduction of the new color, I have tucked behind all the other ones, tucked behind that strand. So that's basically what I'm doing. Again, it's unconventional, so I may or may not finish this because I really have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the urination station and then get something to eat. But as you get to the top, just in case I decide not to finish, as I get up to the top where I feel it's time to tuck it in a little bit, it looks like here all I did was do front posts. So if you do a row of just front posts, you just decreased your hat 50%, okay? Because you're eliminating the back post, and it still gives you that rim. And then it looks like I just did another row of single crochets, and possibly, I'm not seeing it here, but sometimes I'll do, because I did increase it 50%, so I didn't feel like I needed to do a slight more decrease. Then I just did the single, just right in the front. I didn't do any post double crochets. And then oftentimes what I might have done here, I think perhaps, is every other double crochet, I did a decrease and then just weaved in. When you have what's ever left in the top, instead of putting you tie it off and then you have your string to weave to make your cinch, I do the tie and I only go in the back side of the V. I don't put it through both because then it gets too clumpy, and I weave it back and forth. So I take my darning needle through the back loop and then pull it through, and then come to the back loop, but coming in the other direction, and back loop, so on and so forth till I go around. Then I cinch it, I make a knot, and then I pull it through and then stick it through and then tie it on the inside. I'm only saying that here in case you want to just go on about your day, or I may want to go on about my day because I really do have to go get something to eat. So I'm going to work on this in a little while. But I think I'm going to shut you off. And if I do finish this, I'll come back. And if I do, you never know. Might have more funny antidotes. If not, bye-bye for now, guys. Don't forget your thummies.